Oh, hey there. So, this one almost didn't see the light of day, I have to be honest. Early on here, I almost abandoned this idea. It just wasn't really coming together kind of the way I had hoped it would. And, I almost gave up and just thought, and it was almost having the pressure of the recording on me too that almost, I was thinking, is this going to be good enough to put on YouTube or whatever? And, if there's one thing that is true about YouTube, anything is good enough to put on YouTube, really, because there's a lot of junk on YouTube, man. So, it actually ended up turning out pretty good, and I'm glad I stuck with it. Not to mention the fact that I think I'm getting a little better with my camera and my editing software. This looks to me like the clearest shot that I've gotten of the circuit in my beautiful hands. So that's pretty cool. I feel like I'm getting a handle on the tools a little bit. Still a little noisy. I don't have any fancy lighting here. It's just I just turn on all the lights in my living room and go for it. But you can actually read most of the buttons and everything, and not too shabby, and it's not too distorted from the wide angle on the action camera. All in all, pretty satisfied with the way this came out. I really think getting the hang of DaVinci Resolve, which is what I'm using to edit these videos. So this one, I had an idea in my head of kind of jazzy chords with this bop, 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 bop kind of rhythm. And I was thinking that I would just make up the chords by playing them one note at a time, 4 measures worth of just, random notes. And here I used the minor scale functionality of the circuit to prevent myself from playing any really sour notes, although I do get a couple sour ones in here that I have to go back and fix. But that was, the idea here was just get sort of a random change, all in the same key, and then maybe come up with a bass line and a drum part for it. And now I got to figure out all the bum notes that I played or notes that I missed. This is a little tedious here, so maybe while I'm fixing this, I'll just talk about something. It's a nice day here in Chicago, mid-May, close to 70 degrees. I went on a nice bike ride down by the lake, did about 14 miles, not a bad ride, pretty fun, riding on my new electric bike. You still pedal, it's still a workout, but, you go farther faster for the same amount of effort, which is cool. Just makes the ride a little more interesting and fun. It's nice riding. Today's a weekday. I'm currently in between jobs, and it's nice riding down by the lake on a weekday when it's not so crowded. Although, there's still a lot of people down there, even in the middle of the day on a Monday. I guess a lot of people are not working like me. It's a good time of year not to be working. So this was actually fairly tedious, this part, just going through each of these 4 patterns and just trying to figure out which notes of the random notes I played, I'm not really enjoying what I want to do about it. I just, kind of, this is the part where I almost just gave up and thought, is this worth all this effort? But you know what, I stuck it out, and the final product is not bad. Not my favorite thing I've ever done on the circuit, but not bad. It's a little something there. That's pretty close. find a better sound. They just had two different shades for these patch buttons, one for poly and one for mono. It'd make life so much easier. Because it almost always matters. Wasn't sure what I really wanted here, but I was hoping I'd know it when I heard it. I started a little discouraged here too because I couldn't find a sound I liked. I went through 32 patches here in no time, and might work. No, and then I screwed up and hit the wrong button and dropped the octave of my pattern instead of switching pattern banks, which I'll fix later. Alright, fix that. Holding shift and hitting the octave button drops the actual octave of the pattern that's currently playing permanently. That's what I did there. It was a mistake. Fixed it. We're back to previewing patches, and this might work. Kind of like an organ. Kind of a weird modulation effect there. We can maybe get that to pulsate in some kind of a rhythm with the rest of it. I enjoy this part of working with the circuit, and kind of what makes it like working with a real synth or a more classic sort of synth is this kind of playing something and then messing around with the knobs and just finding just the right tweak for the part that you're playing to just make it sound kind of cool and interesting. Try and do some kind of bass line here. Something like that would be cool, I think. That's fat. That might work. It's going to be a long part, I think. Still don't have great, I don't know if it's me or if it's the circuit, but the longer the pattern gets, measure wise, the kind of harder it is for me to record it. Start it on the right, measure, because, you got to figure out, okay, I'm on, here I'm thinking this is probably going to be 8 measures worth of bass line. So I got to make sure I started on the 1 and not on the first measure and not the 5th measure. This is the first 4 bars, which there's no count in, so you can't really trying. I know what I want. I just can't quite figure out how to play it here. Let me think about this. Let's start over. Alright, here we go. I can do this. Well, I mean, that's close, to be fair, to what I'm looking for. Here, I was trying to get it to have more of the groove that I was playing it with by using the swing. It's something that's always worth messing around with. I don't really understand what swing on this machine goes. Start 50 is neutral, it seems like. It goes up to 100 and down to 0. And I don't know what lower than 50 means exactly swing-wise. Most other systems I've worked with just go from 0, which is no swing, to 100, which is full swing. This seems to have like negative swing. But actually, I've found on numerous occasions that swings below 50 are actually closer to the groove that I'm trying to achieve than neutral or swings above 50. I searched a little online trying to figure out, what exactly does the swing setting mean on this machine, and I didn't find anything. If anybody actually watches this video and knows the answer and posts a comment, that would be freaking awesome. It's a lot of ifs. I'm getting close here. Basically fixing each measure. I didn't play them that well, it didn't record them that well. So, just kind of note by note. And the step sequencer here. Step sequencer is a little tedious on this thing, but it's pretty intuitive, and you can make it do what you need it to do. Not bad. Step sequencing on any machine, I think, kind of tedious. It's just the nature of the beast. I don't often have to mess with the gate setting like I'm doing here, but gate is what they call, how long a note is held. The duration of the note is the gate on this machine. Took me a second to figure out that that's what they called it. Now we're getting there. Yeah, that works. It's kind of a major minor modulation. Alright, now let's add some fat beats. Make this sound good. idea what I was gonna do. Drum wise here, messing around. It's not bad. More drums. About a more interesting cymbal part. Doesn't need to be that complicated. Finally drop our metronome that we started out with and see if we can do a more interesting hi-hat line. I like the way that open hat is choking. Yeah. Doesn't sound too bad. I had the original idea for this track while I was out riding my bike on a nice day by the lake, and it sounds kind of like a bike ride by the lake on a nice day. There, and one more drum part here, and we're almost done, I think. Yeah, nice little polyrhythm there. Maybe a little effects. Maybe a side chain. It's always interesting to see what that does. A little extreme there. That's not bad though. Adds a little more expression to the bass line. A little reverb or delay. Just delay. Right? I want it to be subtle. Thicken up that keyboard part. Yeah, kind of like that. And now some reverb. Reverb's kind of like the mayonnaise of the sandwich, you know? It brings everything together. That is not half bad. And to think, I almost gave up on this thing a third of the way through. And I kind of like it. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Play the final thing out here. Subscribe if you dig it.